My name's Von Blinden22, and this is the first part in my series on how to make your own comics at home. And in this first part, I'm going to show you a lot of the tools that I use to make comics. And by no means do you need all of these things or any of these things, but you know, it's nice for you to know what you might want to buy. And you have to try multiple types of inks, pens, brushes, pencils, rulers, paper, everything to find what it is that you need or like to work with, and the way that those tools affect your style. So right now I'm just going to break down all the different stuff that I use, the stuff that I've been using to create my book Paradoxia. This is the first issue, and I recently just completed it, and I'm halfway through the second one. It's a good feeling. So if you want to make comics and you want to listen to what I have to say about it, well then sit there and watch this video. Okay guys, so the first and best thing you should have for drawing a lot is a nice drafting table. Most of these are adjustable. You can tilt them at any angle and raise them or lower them to the height that you need for your own personal body. And the other thing is a very nice chair that's comfortable to sit in, because when you spend a lot of hours at the table, you know, your neck can get sore, your arms, your legs, whatever. So it's good to have professional grade equipment. It's also good to have a cat who oversees everything and steals as much of your art equipment as possible that he thinks might be a good toy. But anyway, back to the art supplies. A great library of books is a nice thing to have, because there's just so much information. It's a wealth of knowledge. Then everybody who's ever published a book probably has something that can teach you something. So when you go to Barnes and Nobles or wherever you go to book shopping, or Amazon.com, look for stuff. Buy new books here and there. You know, you feed the industry and you learn quite a bit. I have way more books than that, but I had to put some of them away because there was too many of them. When it comes to drawing, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your hands on some high quality paper. I bought my paper from BlueLinePro.com. I bought the 2-ply Bristol board. 1 is too thin for me. The 3 is a bit too expensive and not really necessary, although I may use it sometimes. They come smooth or rough depending on the style that you're trying to get, and that's a personal preference for your art. Anyway, a great selection of rulers is necessary. This is a T-square for getting you straight lines and whatnot. I don't use them too much anymore. I usually use what's called the rolling ruler. You can put that on a piece of paper and roll it, and it keeps making parallel lines all the way down your paper. So that's a great thing to have. When it comes to your regular rulers, it's really good to have these stainless steel corkback rulers. They're not too expensive, they last you forever, and the most important part about them is that not only does the cork not slip, but when you put it on your paper, it keeps the edge raised off the paper. So when you use ink pens that you dip, this is a crow quill pen, you dip it in ink, and when you draw across here, it prevents the ink from getting caught under the ruler and bleeding up onto your paper and making a lot of nasty stains. So this, I feel, is a very pertinent thing to have, at least one, but I have a few different sizes. Okay. Erasers. These are your typical kneadable gray erasers. Here's one unopened. Design kneaded rubber. These are great. They don't rip your paper up. They collect the line work really good. When you're done inking, you like to erase the excess pencil lines. So those are good to have. I also have some of these little pen style erasers for erasing fine areas. and they're easy to transport too. When it comes to pencils, I use a wide selection of mechanical pencils. Some people use a mechanical lead holder, which is basically like a mechanical pencil, predecessor to one probably. Not my favorite thing. You need to have, if you choose to use that, it's good to have this little sandpaper board for sharpening the edges, but I don't really use that too much. Like I said, I use these mechanical pencils. So various size tips, various types of lead. This one contains a blue line lead. If you look at this right here, it leaves like a nice blue. These aren't very erasable, but they're great for sketching with, and great to teach you to draw without erasing. So I love to have this, although I don't do my main pages with it. And other mechanical pencils. Great thing about mechanical pencils is they're easy to take with you wherever you go, and they're cheap to refill, and they last forever if you buy. These aren't the ones you buy in a drugstore. These are art store pencils. They cost $6, $7, $8 a piece. They last you for years and years. When it comes to inking, this is what I use. I have a selection of brushes and crow quill pens. Crow quill pen handles cost about $1 or $2. They last quite a long time. Sometimes they break, but they're cheap to replace, and the tips are anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 or so a piece, and as long as you don't drop them or bend them, they last a long time as well. They're removable from the actual pen handle, as you can see, and so if anything happens to that, it's easy to replace it, and it's cheap. The good thing about crow quills is that they give you the similar ability of a brush, which is pressure sensitive. You can make a thicker or thinner line depending on how hard you push down on it. And there's various tips that you can buy, and that's all up to each individual user. I really like this 512. It's great for all different widths of lines. And when it comes to brushes, I generally like a number 4 round brush. You have to wash your brushes to keep them in good shape, but when they have a nice point, they're very good to work with. I'll tell you about the kind of ink that I'm using here in a second, but I'm just going to give you a quick example of how these brushes work. Right here. The brush is capable of making the most minuscule lines all the way up to the most wide lines, which is why they're so good, and they give a very nice natural look. And with the crow quill pen, here's an example of the 512. It's capable of very fine marks and very thick, powerful marks, depending on how hard you press down when you use it. And you can vary the line width as you go by just applying more pressure. I ran out of ink there, but anyway. And I also keep one brush separate just for using the whiteout, which I use Pro White. This bottle is multiple years old. I couldn't tell you, and well, apparently I paid $6.75 for it. I've had it for years and years. It's a hard substance that you actually need water for, but it's good because it really covers over this heavy black ink. If you notice, sometimes it needs 2 layers, but it's a pretty effective thing to use for whiting out your mistakes. When it comes to the ink, you do need to have one small bottle to refill. Every artist has something different, so the type of ink that I'm using right now is Speedball Super Black India ink. It's waterproof. This bottle cost me about $8. I bought it online. I've had it for at least a year, maybe more, maybe 2 years, and I've only used about half of it. And for cleaning your sort of expensive brushes and whatnot, I use Mona Lisa pink soap. It conditions them and keeps them in good shape. You need to wash them frequently or they'll not last. They'll start to split. The ferrule will get filled with ink and the brushes will split in half and you won't be able to use them anymore. This stuff can be $4 to $8 a bottle, and it will also last you a long time if you don't abuse it when you clean your brushes. Other stuff that's good to have, an X-Acto knife for splitting your pages, for doing double page spreads and whatever else you can think of. A great selection of markers. I use Sharpies, I use Microns, and also these Prismacolors. This Prismacolor B model is very similar to a brush and actually has a brush tip and has some great line work you can do with it. I use all these things on my pages. Just depends on what I'm doing at the time. It's good to have some clipboards for keeping everything organized. This is my traveling clipboard for designing my thumbnails off my script. This is a big clipboard for when Melissa sleeps in late and I have to draw in the living room. Something else you can get, or everybody's got this, you need a lot of rags, and I take my old white t-shirts when I don't want to wear it anymore. When I get it out of the laundry, I rip it up and make a bunch of rags out of it. I think I've covered most of the things that you might need, you know, amongst other things like a hole punch, stapler, scissors. You might notice I have a whole lot of art supplies there. I don't use all of them all the time. I pretty much use the same few things most of the time, but it's really good to have more than less. And anyway, so look out for chapter 2. I'm going to show you how to design a comic page and how to start drawing. So thanks for watching. Bye.